everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are here for a very special ranking episode. We'll get more into it, but these are some really good movies that we're going to be talking about today. Some good Hallmark movies. And I'm Philip Good Rachel Wagner, and Terry's here.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, so what's happening today is that we have a new tier for our Patreon that if you sign up under the Hallmarkies ranking tier, you can give us a list of your favorites, whether Hallmark movies or rom-coms or whatever, and we will do an episode ranking your favorites. And so we thought that would be a fun new tier to offer. We have lots of great benefits for being a patron, including the watch-alongs, and we have a chance to meet with talent, Q&As, and we also have our patron group and where we talk about the movies and shows. It's just a great, I really do think that you get more value for our Patreon than any other one that I've seen. You get weekly exclusive reviews done by me. So I try to make it totally worth the investment, and we sure appreciate it. But anyway, this is one of the tiers that you can pick from. And what we did today is that our patron Becky, she gave us her top 12 Hallmark movies. And I know it was a Herculean task for her to come up with this list. And it was challenging for her. And so I will share her ranking along with our rankings. And we've got some like heavy hitters here going on. And so if something's low, it's not because it isn't good. It's just that it's got a lot. So let's dive in. Let's talk about it. And I'll post the short list. I'll post the list in the description. So if you all want to share your rankings, then please do so. And so Terry, let's dive in. Let's talk about it. What's your number 12 on this list?
It is Let It Snow with the very famous Cameron Bure, CCB movie. One of her earlier ones for Hallmark too. And it has stars also Jesse Hutch. And basically she goes to this sort of hotel, right? Or it's like a B&B. And she has to, I'm getting confused here. And she has to basically, because her father's company is purchasing it, correct?
Yes. So she's going to shut down this lodge.
She's going to shut it down and put something better in it. And she spends the holidays there, and it's run by this family, and she's got these guests. And of course, all of that is going to change her mind, and she's going to fall in love with the dude who's like, I can't believe you're buying my family's company out. And it's a very traditional movie, and it's sweet, and it has Alan Ladd in it. So,
Alan Thicke.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I said Alan.
That's okay. I was a hair higher. The thing it gives it a little bit of a bump for me is I think it's really fun how it shows all of these different traditions of Christmas.
Yes.
Because that's one of the things about this lodge is that every day is a different celebration of Christmas. So like one day you have like the rice pudding for Sweden, and the next day you have
that's really fun.
I think that makes it like that adds a layer. And there's been tons of attempts to basically make this movie again since they made it. And that's the thing that they miss in all the other versions is they forget that sort of little bit of whimsy and that attention to detail that I think this one has, where the others are just like, buying the in kind of thing. And the closest I think that we've gotten to this since it was made was probably Check Into Christmas. The one with Rachel Boston and that was similar. This would be pretty high up for me on my Candace Cameron Bure rankings, to be honest. I love Jessie Hutch; she's a favorite. But my number 12 is where I have the Good Witch movie. And I should say that so Becky has Let It Snow also at 12 on her ranking. And the Good Witch movie, I don't dislike it. It's hard because you get kind of used to the show, and the show is a little bit different than these
This is
movies.
Good Witch 1.0, yeah.
But especially them having Martha as the antagonist, in these early films, I kind of enjoy her a little bit more as more of a the mayor, likable and
Yeah,
everything.
she's
And
such a mean girl in this movie. I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it. I love it. Yeah, but their relationship becomes like they become super good friends through the
Yeah,
course of these original movies.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, and we've never actually covered the Good Witch movies.
oh, I love them.
Maybe one of these
Yeah.
days we'll have to do that. But I mean we covered some of them that were part of the show, but
Yeah.
these early ones we haven't ever done. And but I have that at 12, and she has it at 3, so pretty high.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
high in her ranking. So what do you have at 11?
This is where I have Pumpkin Pie Wars.
Mhm. Yeah.
So this is Julie
Gonzalo.
Gonzalo and I can't remember his name. But
Yeah.
basically, their mothers used to be friends. Now they're enemies, and they compete in this pie contest. Of
Uh-huh.
course, this is a fall sort of harvest festival,
Yeah.
and their mothers can't do it. And so the kids take their place in it, and they're competing and falling in love and trying to mend this relationship.
Yeah.
The husbands are secretly still friends,
Yeah.
and it's cute. It's
Yeah.
cute.
I have this
And
at 4. I have this
yeah.
high. I just think that for this formula, it is very well done.
Yes.
And we had this as a patron watch along with Nina, the writer Nina Weinman, on for one of our patron events, and I just think this for what it's trying to do, it does it very, very well. And I love the fact that the dads are still like playing golf on the
Oh
side,
yeah.
like
They're
things that
not telling their wives. They're keeping
yeah.
it down low. Like, don't tell your mother. And
uh,
kids don't really want to fight. They're just being antagonists because their moms are. And then they realize it and they have to come together and bake the perfect pumpkin pie. I mean, it's a perfect fall movie, really.
yeah.
Yeah.
So so I have it at 4, and Becky has this at 7 on her ranking. Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies. My number 11 is where I have The Irresistible Blueberry Farm.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this movie. It has one of the best kisses ever in a Hallmark
Totally.
movie. Great. But the story's like a little boring, even though I do like it. And they have like pretty good chemistry, and but her like looking into this whole like it was on Movies and Mysteries, so there's like this mystery that she's looking into.
Yeah, because yes.
Everything.
She got to find out who dead grandma's secret love was.
Yeah,
Give him that letter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's it's Shirley Jones plays the grandma, and I find those flashbacks and when she thinks about her. I mean, this is a stacked cast. When she thinks about her grandma, those were lovely scenes together. And Mark Blucas is totally hot.
Yeah, he is.
So
he is one of the hottest of the
totally.
Hallmark leading guys. Like
And
he's so unassuming about it. He's so like humble and sweet about it that it's very attractive.
And poor Kevin Smith is the wrong boyfriend because he's got, He also has an allergic reaction to something in this movie, right?
Oh yeah.
I
haven't seen it in a bit, but
it has a bit too. But I'm remembering. I haven't seen it either in a bit, but I'm remembering. Yeah, he has some kind of allergic reaction. Yeah, I have it a little higher than yours. I think it's sweet. It's got a nice little mystery, and I mean, it's got a stacked cast, and
yeah. I do
Probably
think
one
it's
of
maybe
Alison
my
Sweeten's
favorite.
better movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Hallmark.
I think it might be my favorite. I mean, I haven't
Oh,
watched the
totally. Yeah.
Murder She Baked movies, but
We
yeah.
skip them.
Um, so she also Becky has it also at 11. So
Yeah.
we both got it there. What do you have at 10?
I have Love to the Rescue.
Oh,
Nikki
okay.
DeLoach and Michael Ratty. Okay, so they basically adopt our
A
kid.
dog
They both
together.
want the same dog, so they share custody of this dog, and they
Uh-huh.
fall in love, and it's
Yeah.
super cute, and the dog is cute, and the kid in the movie is cute, and she's
Yeah.
divorced, and we have a good relationship with the
Yeah.
ex-husband,
Yeah.
which for a while in Hallmark they only had dead spouses,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it's nice to see, or like mean ex-husbands or ex-spouses, and so it's
Yeah.
kind of nice to see a different side relationship of people getting along and moving forward. But they
Yeah.
have good chemistry. This movie's super cute.
Yeah. I have it higher. I have it actually at 2. But and so does Becky, also has it at 2, but I'll explain a little bit more later why I have it so high.
Yeah, I know people love this movie, but it is a
No.
dog movie, and I have problems with animal movies, as I've established before.
Yeah.
But it is super cute.
Yeah. So number 10 is where I have Surprised by Love. I like this movie.
Oh my God, so cute.
I think it's probably one of Paul Campbell's better movies.
Better movies. What a loser he is in this movie.
Yeah,
So they say.
he really is. He's like an artist.
Yeah.
He gets this is a fake relationship.
This is
kind of
another
a thing,
insane
and
plot.
yeah,
That,
but it has
Hilaria
some.
Byrne, yeah.
It has some. It has some humor, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I just liked the other ones just a little bit better, but
It's
I do
good chemistry, yeah, with
I
Hilaria
do
Byrne.
like it.
Because her parents hate her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's like, "Hey, take this loser to their anniversary party because they'll see this loser and then love me." In what planet would that work, sir? That's the premise of this movie, and
Yeah,
he is so funny in this movie. Paul Campbell's so very charming.
elevates it.
I really like this movie. I have it higher on the list.
So I have a 10, and so does Becky. Also has it at 10. So let's see. Where are you at?
At 9.
You're at 9. Okay, so where do you have at 9?
I have The Irresistible Blueberry Farm.
Okay, yeah, good. Okay, my number 9 is where I have Annie Claus. It's coming to town. This is this feels very true to 2011 Hallmark.
Totally.
You got the whimsy, and Sam Page is really fun. And you've got, this actress, and she never really did anything else for Hallmark, but
no,
she's got that kind of whimsy and energy that you need to be Santa Claus's daughter.
Totally.
And this is also Nina Wyman. I think she does a real good job with this. This is one of her first scripts.
Yeah.
And
on vacation and saving a toy store. It's so cute. It's so bubbly. And I don't mean this as an insult, but I say it's kind of a simple story. It's very straightforward, but it's so very charming.
Yeah.
And bubbly. It's so cute and whimsical.
This
and
is
I love the fantasy element.
I think what people think Hallmark movies are.
Constantly, yes.
This is what they are. This
one's a good one, though.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's just that, like, most Hallmark movies aren't what people think they are.
No.
This one is that. Like most Hallmark movies don't even have Santa. Most Hallmark movies don't have any kind of magic. Nope. But this one does have a little bit more of that. So yeah. So what do you have at 8?
At 8, I have Harvest Moon. With this movie's so funny with Jessie Schramm and and also again Jessie Hutch. 2 Jessies. Basically she's a rich girl. Like her selfie stick. I'm just thinking of her falling over. And her father, played by Willie Ames, they are broke. The only thing that she owns is this pumpkin farm, and she goes over there trying to sell it. And he's so like, you can't sell my farm, but you don't own it, bro. And, so they don't like each other. Then they do. She has to work at the farm and helps him save the pumpkin farm. And she's not going to sell it. And they fall in love. It's adorable.
Yeah.
But she's trying to take a selfie with the pumpkins and falls over and breaks her heels. And her friends don't want to be friends with her anymore because she's poor now. Yeah. And so it's really fun.
I really like this one. I actually have it at 3. Yeah. I love the chemistry. I love Lila as the daughter, and this just hits all the right notes.
It hits all the marks. It's so funny.
she manages to keep a character that could be very unlikable, diva kind of character.
Yes,
She
she
does a
is
good
all
job.
of that, but she's always likable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so Becky has this also at 8, and she had Annie Claus at 9.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so we're pretty close. I have Let It Snow at 8. So that's where I have that.
Yeah.
And it's really just for all the different celebrations of Christmas. I love that. So what do you have at 7?
I have The Good Witch. The Good Witch 1. I think this is it's the same, but not the same as what I call 2.0 as the TV series.
Yeah.
Because the locations and the house are completely different. But I don't know. This is what started my love of The Good Witch. With Catherine Bell and Chris Potter. How they fall in love. And these early movies, you don't really know if she's really a witch or not, or if these people are imagining everything.
Well, and this is the only one where you actually see her like cast any kind of spell.
Exactly, because early on they really left that a mystery, whereas the show...
Because the show is, she's just basically like intuitive. She's not like
but they totally made her, like later on in the show, she is a witch. And they kind of like...
But not with magic. They almost never have her actually like...
No, not in these early films, but in the show, they perform magic in the show.
Not really. Like in the show...
Rachel, it ended with them trying to save their magic.
That last season, they did bring it in.
They admitted it. They fully admitted it. Yeah,
most of the show, it's more like intuitive matchmaking.
Yes,
is the magic. But in this first movie, the whole thing with the dogs, like at the end...
Yeah,
actually has like some magic.
She inherits that Anne, and they think she's the actual gray lady in the portrait, and she opens up her bell book and candle sort of store.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a bit since I saw it.
And it's like I love Catherine Bell and Chris Potter, the chemistry. I almost didn't watch the series because obviously he didn't come back because he was doing Heartland.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't watch the series. I was like, absolutely not. I cannot accept him dead.
Yeah.
But the series ended up winning me over. And, and of course, Catherine Disher, love her. She's in this movie. And she's the mean girl in a couple of these movies. Like, you witch. Like, but there is the thing, even though you don't know whether she's doing magic or not, and then later on the show sort of admits that they do. But
a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit, but I always believed she had magic because you're just led to always believe that, even though it's you can explain everything away. She's always very coy with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's magic. Like, why not? So you always believed.
Yeah.
But there is a charm in these original movies. I think there were 7 of them. And that's why the show's so beloved, So.
Yeah. Well, at number 7 is where I have Snow Bride. And I like this movie. It's really fun. I like that she's got kind of a snarky lead, that she's this paparazzi tabloid whatever person, and she could easily be unlikable, but Katrina Law is really good, and the characters
the worst bridesmaids ever. She ruins that dress. I think we talked about this movie. I can't remember if it was the best Christmas or whatever.
And it's Tracy Andreen script. And she's so good.
So much fun.
And Katrina Law is her sister-in-law, which is kind of amazing. And so it's a lot of fun. I have nothing bad to say about it, but it just ended up
undercover spying. And it's for a tabloid. I love that fact. It's just a tabloid reporter. What a terrible... She ruins that. I'd never speak to her again.
For sure. So Becky actually has this at number 1. It's her favorite.
It's a beloved too.
It is beloved. Yeah.
I'd like to take a second to thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the new book from Harpeth Road Publishing and best-selling author Nancy Nagel, The Law of Attraction. Whitney Winters and her sister-in-law Karina are thrust into the limelight when it's the national news that a number of their former clients have fallen in love after their respective divorces. To keep their jobs, Whitney and Karina must juggle their newfound fame and their clients' misadventures in love while attempting to preserve the law firm's reputation. But their efforts aren't without distractions. Whitney begins to fall for charming artist Matthew McMahon, her complete opposite. Meanwhile, Karina wonders if all the time she's putting into her career is shortchanging her marriage. Will the sisters-in-law get more than they can handle, especially when happily ever afters aren't really in their job descriptions? a swoony romantic jaunt that's as feel-good as your mama's apple pie. If you enjoyed the TV movies based on Nancy's books and are searching for more heartwarming romance, look no further. You can pick up The Law of Attraction today wherever you purchase your books, or use the affiliate link below, or go to harpathroad.com. That's harpathroad.com.
And this is hard to rank because it's just so new. But I have the Santa Summit at 6. We'll see as it sort of sits on, but really just a super funny, the way they're able to have these different relationships through the course of this day. Of course, the Lord of the Rings,
of course, like what a crazy night they have. A great cameo by Niall Matter.
Niall Matter, yeah.
The guy, you never see the guy's face, is always the Christmas tree, mosh pitting and all this other stuff.
The noise canceling dance off thing.
All this hysterical. Yeah, really, and
fun.
It's basically a meet cute, and then they got to spend the whole entire night trying to find each other because they didn't get each other's names.
Which a lot of times wouldn't work.
No, and it's like 3 friends and they all sort of have this quasi love. But the greatest moment in this movie is the art teacher and the cat lover. And they have that
Lord of the Rings,
Lord of the Rings moment. Yeah. It is just the greatest moment I've seen in a Christmas movie.
It was really good. It won our favorite moment in our Hallmark Podcast Award.
So great.
And it's at 6. What do you have at 5?
This is where I have Surprised by Love.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so adorable. I think this is where I fell in love with Paul Campbell. And I was like, he's so charming when he plays these. He just has a knack for it. And it's great.
And this one's, I think, underappreciated. I think some people don't realize it because he's more known for the Christmas movies.
Yeah.
But yeah. Number 5 is where I have A Very Merry Mix-Up. Love this movie. Totally. I love that. It's completely ridiculous. This movie,
totally,
but,
like
you just go with it.
It is so unbelievable that they just believe that because she's trying to see her fiance's family and they have the same last name, and she goes to the wrong house. Nobody questions whether this is correct. Really, you're his fiance?
I mean, it's like something Barbara Stanwyck would have been in the 50s.
Yes, I love that. And Alicia Witt is at her Alicia Witt high in this movie. It's adorable. Hallmark, bring her back. What are you doing?
Okay, I really feel
without a Christmas movie without her.
I really feel like this is one that if you don't like this movie, I kind of, on some level, if you don't appreciate, like, is this genre for you? Like, exactly. I don't know. It's just like, you don't have to love it, but I don't know. I just feel like if you don't appreciate it at least a little bit, then I don't know.
Yes, so much fun with her fake family, and then goes to her real family.
Yeah,
and
they're
like,
sadness. Horrible.
They're horrible, like sadness. It's like it's bonkers, but in a good way. It's adorable.
And I should say, so Becky has Santa Summit also at 6, and she has Very Merry Mix-Up also at 5.
Okay.
So what do you have at 4?
This is where I have Snow Bride. Classic.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
No question. So 4 is where I have Pumpkin Pie Wars. I just think for what it's trying to do, it just gets it.
It nails it, yeah.
It nails it, yeah. So what do you have at 3?
This is where I have The Birthday Wish. Another Jesse Schramm movie with Luke McFarlane.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just the whole, what am I going to be when I'm 30? And the alternate, what she could have. And he's the best friend. Like, he's related to, like, the best friend role. And it's, he's so good in this movie, too. He's, like, so charming, and they have great chemistry. And, of course, Marcus Rosner, this is in his days of the wrong man, the wrong boyfriend roles that he used
Julie
to play.
Sherman Wolfe script. Yeah. And it was just such a clever idea to have this, where she is opposed to, like, a Family Man or a It's a Wonderful Life kind of thing, where you see this whole other life. Like, in this, she just gets this little glimpse.
Of, you know.
And Luke McFarlane could not be more charming. Like,
he is so good in this movie.
Absolutely great. Like, when he brings her that giant cookie, and you're like,
yeah. And
I think that Marcus Rosner is, like, legendary in this movie.
Oh, totally.
It's the wrong guy. He's so funny. Like, so funny. when she's like looking through her food, trying to find the ring, and he's totally clueless, you know. And like, I give him some Grace because they had this is the relationship they'd agreed on.
Yeah.
Right? Like
and poor Luke McFarlane. I like you. Why don't you like me?
Yeah, and he's just watching from the side. Also, the fact she's afraid of dogs, and I'm kind of scared of animals sometimes. And so her getting over the fear, there's just
because these are also kind of new careers for Hallmark at the time. We didn't really because she does commercials. She's a director for commercials, and we don't really get that many those type of roles. Everybody's an accountant or a lawyer or a baker. Or whatever.
And just Marcus when she's trying to talk to him and he's like, hey, will you edit my reel? No. Will you I don't know. He's just so funny.
So funny.
I think it is a perfect Hallmark movie. It's one that I would really recommend to anybody. I feel like if somebody's thinking about watching a Hallmark movie, this is a really good one to start on.
Yeah, a non-Christmas one. This is a good one to start with. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so Becky has that birthday wish at 4 on her ranking. So I have at 3 is where I have Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
I really just love it. And Lila Fitzgerald is the little girl and their bond, I think adds a layer. It's just great. So what do you have at 2?
This is where I have A Very Merry Mix-Up. I love this movie. Yeah. It's probably my favorite Alicia Witt Hallmark movie. Because she's mainly done the Christmas movies. Hallmark, give her a call. It's been 3 years. Yeah. Come on, guys.
Well, and it was frustrating because they for a long time they had her in more dramas, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, for her later movies, yeah. She went out on a high note. If she never comes back, the one she did with Andrew Walker is kind of adorable. Where he doesn't know he's the villain of the movie. I know. Still. It's just you don't have peppermint. He goes, that's sadness in your. But I love when he realizes he's the villain of the movie because he doesn't realize it. And so oh no, I'm the bad guy. Yeah, but she's great in these movies. Yeah. Come on, Hallmark.
She's great. And
I have no idea why Hallmark thinks that they can't
have her back and also have her back in comedies. Get her back in a comedy.
Oh, again. I love all the changes Hallmark has been I love all the changes Hallmark has been making, but sometimes they can be clueless at the same time. And they are clueless with not having Alicia Witt back for their holiday movies.
It's true. Well, so Becky has that at 5. I'm not sure if I said that.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hearty, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Number 2 is where I have Love to the Rescue.
Yeah.
And this is very well executed. I love the plot of them sharing this dog, and the kids are really cute and they have such great chemistry. And there's lots of really cute scenes, like when they go on the date under the watching under the stars, and love the fact that she's an animator. And and for me, this one was the weekend that I got cyber stalked and I had a death threat because of my Shazam review, and I had to call the FBI. It was a total mess because
that person must feel. I hope that person feels foolish.
Yeah, there was a mass shooting and a threat, and so I had to inform the Homeland Security. It was a nightmare, and so. Anyway, this movie came on that weekend. And so it will always have a special place in my heart that it was just the movie I needed that weekend to comfort and to get me through a tough time. And so it'll always be elevated because we can't separate our life experiences from the media we watch sometimes, even as some critics will claim they can't. And so anyway, that does give it a bump, but I think it's a really solid little movie. Sarah Montana did a great job with the script. And then in Two Turtle Doves after that.
They have great chemistry together. The actors.
She's an excellent writer. and she did this last season. She did the one with Rachel Lee Cook, Rescuing Christmas, and that was excellent.
Which was fun, super fun.
Yeah, I really liked it.
And I don't know how many people got to watch that one, but it's super fun.
Because it was on. Why? It's because I guess it was just a little long.
Yeah, that was my second favorite holiday movie from
Me too. So that's a 2, and Becky also has Love to the Rescue at 2 on her ranking. And so number 1 for me is The Birthday Wish. I just think it's like basically a perfect Hallmark movie. I love everything about it. I even the stuff that's like a little bit cringe is like cringe in the perfect way. Like I said, I think Marcus is so funny in it, and as the wrong guy.
This is definitely his best performance as the wrong guy.
Yeah, it was like, I kind of wish that you weren't doing leads. I'm happy for you in your career, but you were so good. He was so good at being the other guy.
If you enjoy Marcus Rosner as the other guy, switch over to Lifetime to watch him as the crazy guy.
Yeah,
in those thrillers. So that's going to be a lot of fun if you want a different variety as the lead, the other guy, and the psycho guy. Yeah,
and I don't think they've really used him that. I did like Notes of Autumn, but I don't know. I just really enjoyed him in this, and then just every scene I love, and like I said, that scene when he brings her the cookie. And then the ending when he's like, I thought you would never know. I thought you would never. I felt like,
and he's just got puppy dog eyes at her. Like what? Like his disgust too at Marcus Rosner in a moment as well.
Yeah, like it also all sees him proposing, and you're just like, no.
like what do I have to do here?
Yeah.
And forever friend zoned.
Yeah, I think Julie's probably her best script that she's ever done. I love the whole concept. I think it is so romantic. I love the leads. I love the story. I just think it's great. So I have it at number 1. It might be if we're doing, because we've talked about doing a best Hallmark movie, both Christmas and non-Christmas, our favorites. Mm-hmm. We've talked about doing that because we did the worst. Last year. But
I think we need to do a part 2 for that one.
Yeah, I know. But this would be high. It would be high on that, if not number 1 on non-Christmas. I just love it. I think it's so good. And Becky has it at 4. What do you have at number 1?
I have the Santa Summit.
Okay.
Because it's great. It's so much fun. Really I think if you wanted to introduce a newer generation to Hallmark, this is the way to go. Because this is sort of an updated, fun feel. Like it's like a meet cute, and it's just so much fun. I think this is Hunter King's best Hallmark movie.
Yes,
and I think she's very charming in here. And I guess support my soap girls, my soap opera stars.
And
so here we go.
Russell Hainline, he nailed it with the script. I mean, it is
totally
such a good script.
It's so much fun. I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And again, I recorded it off the screen on my phone so I could rewatch the Lord of the Rings scene all the time because it's like, you like J.R.R. Tolkien? I mean, it's like,
yeah. We had it. It was the big winner. I was joking that it was our Oppenheimer in the Hallmark Podcast Awards. It won practically everything, and it deserved it. It was absolutely wonderful. I guess I was hesitant to put it in the top 5 just because I didn't want to see an recency bias. But
but it's so good.
It's really good. It's really, really, really good. Yeah. So I get it. I really do. All right. So my top 12, I have The Birthday Wish at 1, Love to the Rescue at 2, Harvest Moon at 3, Pumpkin Pie Wars at 4, The Very Merry Mix-Up at 5, The Santa Summit at 6, Snow Bride at 7, Let It Snow at 8, Annie Claus is Coming to Town at 9, Surprised by Love at 10, The Irresistible Blueberry Farm at 11, and The Good Witch at 12.
And I have The Santa Summit at 1, A Very Merry Mix-Up at 2. My number 3 is The Birthday Wish, Snow Bride at 4, Surprised by Love at 5. Number 6 is Annie Claus is Coming to Town, The Good Witch at 7, Harvest Moon at 8, The Irresistible Blueberry Farm at 9. My number 10 is Love to the Rescue, Pumpkin Pie Wars at 11, and my number 12 is Let It Snow.
And Becky has Snow Bride at 1, Love to the Rescue at 2, The Good Witch at 3, The Birthday Wish at 4, A Very Merry Mix-Up at 5, Santa Summit at 6, Pumpkin Pie Wars at 7, Harvest Moon at 8, Annie Claus is Coming Down at 9, Surprised by Love at 10, Irresistible Blueberry Farm at 11, and Let It Snow at 12. So thank you to Becky for being a patron, for being so amazing, and for giving us this list. And again, if you want to be a part of the podcast, if you want to have us rank yours, check out that tier in the Patreon and check out the Patreon. We sure appreciate it. And it could be a lot of fun. We could get some fun lists to rank. So please check it out. And we'll have all of the information for the Patreon in the description. And you can also become a member on YouTube if you like that better. That's basically the same benefits for that. So all that information is there. And Terry, how can people follow you on your content?
I'm at Twitter at Flurry Heaven.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We sure appreciate that. And we also have the merch store. So check that out. There's lots of fun Hallmark inspired merch. And thanks again to Becky. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.